Hi, welcome back to Maker Mindset. This is the third part in a series that is going over the process of building the Ender 3 Pro 3D printer. If you never built a printer before, or if you recently built your printer and you are having problems with it, then this video series is for you. So let's continue. We will begin this part in the series with step 4, where we are going to attach the Z-axis stepper motor. As you can see on the 3D animation, we will not accomplish much at the current step. We'll just attach the stepper motor to the aluminum extrusion with 2 screws. And for this task, we'll need 2 M4 18P screws. And we'll also need the mid-size hex wrench from the ones that came with the printer. Here is the Z-axis stepper motor, which comes with this plastic bracket. You should screw this stepper motor right behind the 2040 aluminum extrusion, where you attached the Z-stop switch. At this point, you don't need to tighten the screws very well. In fact, we are going to revisit the installation of this part in a future step. This step is done. In step 5, we will attach the pneumatic coupler and the 2020 aluminum extrusion to the extruder assembly. As you can see from the 3D animation, we're not going to be working on the base of the printer at the moment. We will actually be working on the extruder assembly, on which we are going to attach one of the 2020 aluminum extrusions. But before getting to that, we're going to take the opportunity to connect the pneumatic coupler for the bolting tool. And to accomplish this task, we will need this open-end wrench that came with the printer. You can begin screwing by hand. And you will need to use the smaller size of the wrench to tighten the coupler. Now you should compare the size of the two 2020 aluminum extrusions. Put aside the smaller one for the moment. For this, we'll need 2 M4 16 screws. You also need to pick up the mid-size hex wrench from the ones that came with the printer. We're going to work on the side of the 2020 aluminum extrusion where the 3 holes are closest to the edge. You should first put the 2 screws into their respective holes here. Now, put the part of the aluminum extrusion that has this recess on top of the nut, like so. Now is coming a very important step of this procedure. You don't need to tighten this screw much. But you should tighten this other screw pretty well. Now go into your bathroom cabinet and come back with 2 medicine bottles of the exact same size. I got 2 vitamin bottles here, and you need to make sure that the caps are well tight. Now you pick up the extruder assembly and slide it on top of the 2040 aluminum extrusion that is located on the right side of the base of the printer. Let it slide down until the 2020 aluminum extrusion is resting on top of the 2 bottles. Since we tighten one of the screws very well, the aluminum extrusion will move, but will offer some resistance. Double check to make sure that the aluminum extrusion is aligned on top of both bottles. Then carefully remove the extruder assembly while making sure that you're not going to alter the position of the aluminum extrusion in relation to the extruder assembly. Now it's time to tighten both screws. Finally, slide in the extruder assembly again and make sure that the aluminum extrusion is still aligned. Otherwise, repeat the process. On step 6, we will need to roll in the hotend carriage and attach the Z-axis passive block to the gantry. Just like the previous step, this one will also be a little involving because it will require the passive block to be perfectly aligned with the 2040 aluminum extrusion. The first thing to do is to carefully pick up the hotend carriage, making sure that you don't touch the print nozzle because the acids on your fingers may encourage oxidation. For this, the wheel that has the eccentric nut will stay at the bottom, and the part where the electric cable mesh and the bolting tube are coming out of are going to be pointing upwards. Now you pick up the partially assembled gantry with the QR code facing you and roll in the hotend carriage into the 2020 aluminum extrusion. Now pick up the passive block and turn it this way where the head of this screw will be inside of this recess found here on the 2020 aluminum extrusion. For this task, we'll need to pick up two M416 screws, and you will need the mid-size hex wrench from the ones that came with the printer. And here comes yet another very important little trick. We'll start by putting the screws on, but not tightening any of them yet. Now, you actually need to tighten this screw very well, and you're not supposed to tighten this other one. Leave it pretty loose. As you can see, the passive block can move up and down, but it offers some resistance. Here you're supposed to roll in the gantry from the top. I placed a clamp on the printer's right side 2040 aluminum extrusion to stop the gantry from rolling all the way to the bottom. With the gantry rolled into place, the Z-axis passive block will be perfectly aligned with the 2040 aluminum extrusion. So now you can fully tighten both screws with the knowledge that the passive block is properly aligned. This step is over. On step 7, we just need to attach the belt tensioner to the gantry. Since we don't have the belt attached yet, attaching the belt tensioner is going to be very simple. Here is the belt tensioner. And for this task, you need to get the second largest hex wrench from the ones that came with the printer. What we need to do here is to loosen the T-nuts enough so that they will be able to enter into the groove on the side of the aluminum extrusion and turn sideways. At the moment, there is no point in tightening the screws too much. After all, the belt is not even connected yet. So, here it is. That's it for now. This video is over, but there will be more next week. Bye bye. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. If you want to watch the rest of this series, you can click on this link here on the top, and at the bottom you have a link to a video that the YouTube algorithm thinks will be the best fit for you. So, we'll see you next time.